So Matt McDonough on Substack just put out the most accurate take when it comes to where AI is going. What's happening is that people are running around with their heads cut off saying that they want AI, but they have absolutely no idea how to bring this into their business. And so what he lays out here in his article talks about process as a product, and that as we're building AI, and this ambiguous term AI is not just going to drop into your business and fix your problems and understand where all the bones are buried or how you operate. That's still going to take humans or someone to communicate to AI what the requirements are as it comes to doing what you do in your business. And so I just want to read this to you and take you through this. So algorithms are not mind readers. They're ruthless, highly capable execution machines. They require exact, uncompromising parameters. And this is where this article really intersects with the work that we're doing here at Build the Process. So if a process lives entirely in the head of your operations manager, you do not own a process, you own a vulnerability. That's absolutely massive. How many companies come to us and say processes in people's heads? Like, you truly own a vulnerability if your processes aren't documented in a way that are shared and agreed upon. Now, that said, historically, businesses survived on tacit knowledge. It was unspoken, tribal, see that a lot, understanding that employees picked up over several years of survival. In an AI-driven system, tacit knowledge is now a virus and it breaks the machine. Basically, what he's saying is that if you have things in people's heads and it's not hard-coded into a system that AI can follow and execute on behalf of humans, then you just still have a massive liability. And so what we need to do is that your elite human core must become obsessed with process mapping, which is literally the work that we do here at Build the Process. We extract process from people's heads so that we can create these treasure maps that now we can go in and drop AI on top of and objectively automate, instead of what many companies do right now is they just pick the one biggest pain point and they say, let's pick some AI tool and do that. It's not a very holistic, it's not a very strategic approach to implementing AI in your business. Now, every workflow must be extracted, dissected, and codified. That said, from how a lead is qualified to how an invoice is generated to how a crisis is managed, we have to break it down into rigid, logical vectors, because we have to do this and build the code to define the triggers, map the decision trees, and forge the SOPs. So standard operating procedures are not just suggestions or the code of your survival. So doing all these things creates the parameters that AI can work within, because without this, you just have a blank canvas that you're saying we want AI, but we have no idea what to tell AI what to do. And you get a lot of sporadic shoot from the hip efforts to implement AI, which is not a holistic strategy for your business. And quite honestly, a huge waste of times for companies that we've seen try to go through this process without getting the process right and mapped and on paper before strategically bringing in AI. So when your team maps a process, they're writing the software that your autonomous agents will run. The market value of your human capital, and quite sadly, this is where we're going, is now directly tied to their ability to systemize their own jobs so thoroughly that compute can take over the execution. And this is quite frankly a scary place to where we're going right now. And I would say within the last 2 months, AI has picked up so much. I've seen some things in the market where we are at least a hiring freeze, or I would not hire anyone currently in your company unless you've truly shaken out their role and determined what AI can do and augment before you go out and hire another body to fill that seat. Because we are getting very close to a place where I've seen AI bots sit in this seat right here, control the mouse on a screen, and do things that I never thought were possible, from browser-based automations, thinking through frameworks to make decisions, and other things that really start to replace lower-level human knowledge workers. And it's the reality of where we're at. So if you don't document it, you can't scale it. And if you cannot scale it, you're going to be crushed by someone who can. So long story short, this is the time to get on the train and get right with what your processes are and get really clear on those before you start to just sporadically try to automate things in your business. Because if you don't do this, your competitor is going to, and then once your competitor figures it out and nails it, now you're on the outside looking in. So I don't mean this as a scare tactic, but you have to get your processes right first, get clear on what they are, and then take it to AI so that you can actually do this strategically in your business and you're not wasting a ton of time trying to figure out what to automate and how to do it. So long story short, that's where we're at right now. I don't think that this could be summed up any better than what he just did. If you're not already talking about process with your people, jump in and start understanding where that tribal knowledge comes from. Start trying to capture that tribal knowledge, because we're just at the point where it's becoming your biggest liability in the business. And we have to extract it to build it into process and systems and automations and AI so that your operation can actually become scalable into the future.